The corridor shuddered with the low hum of Asteria Station's engines, a sound Logan had long since tuned into the way a sailor hears the tide. The vast orbital hub might have been the crown jewel of interstellar trade, but down in its auxiliary shafts, it always smelled of coolant and steel. He liked it that way, predictable, mechanical, his domain. Exara Nihilith walked beside him, her presence anything but predictable. Where Logan's uniform was creased regulation gray, she shimmered. Her skin carried a faint iridescence, pulsing softly with each step, as though her body were syncing to the heartbeat of the station. A cultural quirk, Logan told himself. He tried not to stare. He failed. This sector's supposed to be sealed, Exara murmured, her accent wrapping around each consonant. She tapped the panel they'd been sent to check. Environmental purge schedule looks irregular. Logan crouched, ran a hand over the locking clamps. Irregular is a polite way of saying someone's messing with it. Holt's going to love this. He keyed in his access code. The panel resisted, then blinked green. The door slid open with a hiss. A rush of muggy air rolled out, thick with moisture and ozone. Logan's instincts flared. Purge chambers weren't meant to feel like tropical storms. Stay close, he said. Not an order, more like a reflex. Inside, the chamber spread wider than he'd expected. Catwalks crisscrossed over a dark pool of coolant, pipes vanishing into shadows overhead. Red strobes lit the space in pulses, painting Exara in alternating scarlet and silver. She moved with quick precision, scanning gauges with practiced ease. The door clanged shut behind them. Lock bolts slammed into place. Logan spun back. That wasn't me. A cold female voice echoed from overhead speakers. Containment cycle initiated. Purge in progress. Duration, 45 minutes. Containment. Exara's eyes widened. The glow along her collarbones quickened. That's impossible. These systems don't engage without command clearance. Logan slapped the override. Nothing. He tried again, harder, as though force mattered. Great. Locked in with a puddle of toxic soup. Just another day on Asteria. A tremor rippled under the catwalk. Metal groaned. Exara froze. Did you feel? The coolant pool surged, a ripple breaking the surface as if something enormous shifted below. Both of them leaned instinctively toward each other, shoulders brushing. For a moment, neither spoke. The speakers crackled again. Warning. Biological presence detected in purge chamber. Logan's jaw clenched. That's new. Exara whispered, almost to herself. Not new. Hidden. Her glow brightened, spreading faint lines down her arms. Logan glanced at her, caught the tremor of fear she tried to mask. She wasn't just beautiful. She was scared, and that unnerved him more than the voice. The chamber rumbled. Something slammed against the underside of the catwalk. Metal jolted beneath their boots. Logan grabbed the rail with one hand, Exara's wrist with the other. Heat flared at the contact, static or maybe the pulse racing under her skin. She didn't pull away. Stay steady, he muttered. If it can't see movement, maybe it... Another crash cut him off. This time the whole platform dipped, coolant spraying upward in a glittering arc. Exara gasped, clutching his arm. For a second, Logan's brain betrayed him, cataloging the curve of her face, the way light spilled from her skin like circuitry alive. Wrong time, he cursed himself. Very wrong time. We need a way out, she said, steadying herself. Professional again. Secondary exits. Manual overrides. Anything. Logan scanned the walls. No hatches, no ladders. Just sealed composites and the one door that mocked them with its locked green light. His pulse hammered. 45 minutes in a chamber with whatever was testing the catwalk's limits. Exara moved closer, leaning into his line of sight. Her eyes, silver ringed with faint violet, met his. Then we survive 45 minutes together. A beat, softer. Your people share breath before death, don't they? He almost laughed. A short, disbelieving bark. That's a battlefield superstition, not protocol. Her glow softened. Superstitions exist for a reason. The platform jolted again, silencing him. Somewhere beneath the coolant, something massive exhaled, sending bubbles roiling to the surface. Logan drew his sidearm, though he doubted a single plasma pistol would matter much. "All right," he said grimly, steadying his stance. 45 minutes. Just us, the dark, and whatever they've been hiding under Asteria." The alarms wailed louder. The purge cycle had only just begun. The coolant pool had gone eerily still, but Logan didn't trust it. He kept his pistol leveled, eyes scanning for ripples. The silence pressed heavy, broken only by the hiss of pipes overhead and the steady thrum of the purge cycle. Exera crouched near the bulkhead, her fingers tracing along the seams of the metal. The glow in her hands pulsed faintly as if answering some rhythm hidden in the walls. Logan frowned. "What are you doing?" "Listening," she murmured. "Your alloys carry current differently. I can feel the interruptions." She tapped a spot where the seam looked seamless. "Here." Not standard fabrication. Logan holstered the pistol long enough to join her. He ran his knuckles along the plating. Sure enough, the echo sounded off. "Hollow. You've got good ears." "Not ears," she corrected gently, pressing her palm flat against the surface. A faint shimmer sparked between her skin and the alloy. The panel flickered, just for a second, then slid open with a soft mechanical sigh. Behind it lay a narrow compartment stuffed with objects wrapped in polymer sheeting. Crystals. Not the kind you mounted in power cores, the small, translucent data shards favored by smugglers. Logan's gut twisted. Contraband. In a purge chamber? Exera picked one up carefully. Its surface glowed faint blue under her touch, as if recognizing her. "Encrypted records," she said. "But the energy signature is wrong." Logan cracked another packet. Inside wasn't just data. A compact transmitter, tuned to frequencies beyond station regs. Black market gear, hidden in one of the most secure environmental systems on Asteria. Whoever stashed it here had nerve. Or clearance. "Someone's been running shadow ops," Logan muttered, "and using the purge cycle as cover." The coolant below sloshed. Both of them froze. A thin dorsal fin, or something like it, broke the surface for the briefest moment before slipping under again. Logan's knuckles tightened on the pistol grip. "Tell me you saw that." Exera nodded slowly, eyes fixed on the water. "Not a machine. Muscle. Scales. And augmented." Augmented. Logan kept his weapon trained on the rippling surface. She glanced at him, her glow brightening along her throat. "I've studied enough xenobiology to recognize genetic layering. That thing carries a human sequence, at least in part." The words hit harder than the coolant spray. "Human DNA?" Logan repeated, disbelief dripping from every syllable. "Down here? In a test pool." The pool rippled again, this time closer. A low, resonant thrum vibrated up through the catwalk, like sonar bouncing back. Exera staggered, clutching the railing. "It's probing us." Logan's instincts screamed to fire, but some part of him knew a pistol bolt might only piss it off. He edged closer to Exera instead, steadying her with his free hand. The air between them crackled with the faint static of her glow. He forced his voice steady. "Options." She swallowed. "The transmitter. If we amplify its signal, it might mimic pheromone output. Distract the creature." "You can do that?" Her eyes flicked up to meet his, silver flecked with urgency. "I can try, but the crystal arrays need stabilization. I'll have to sync them manually." Logan glanced at the coolant pool, then back at the pile of contraband. "Do it. I'll cover you." She knelt, pulling shards free, arranging them in a careful arc. The glow along her arms spread, tendrils of light threading into the transmitter's housing. Sparks danced across the compartment as she worked, lips moving in quiet calculation. Logan stood above her, every muscle taut, pistol aimed at the shadows beneath the water. The pool surged. A massive shape broke the surface, sleek, scaled, eyes burning faint green in the strobe light. It wasn't fully out, but just enough to show rows of jagged teeth and a ridged spine studded with metallic implants. The sight made Logan's blood run cold. Weaponized. deliberately built to kill. The creature slammed against the catwalk. Metal screeched. Logan fired 2 plasma bursts. Bolts seared into its hide, but only made it recoil with a hiss. Then it slid back under, leaving rings of ripples. Logan! Exra's voice cut sharp. Stabilization complete. Signal ready. He glanced down. The transmitter pulsed now, faint hum radiating from the crystals. Then lighted up. Exra pressed her palm flat. Her glow merged with the device's shimmer, sending a low-frequency wave through the chamber. The coolant pool vibrated in response. Somewhere deep beneath the surface, the creature loosed a guttural roar that shook the walls, then retreated, the ripples spreading outward as if it were moving away. For a heartbeat, only the alarms filled the silence. Logan exhaled slowly. Nice trick. Exra sagged against the bulkhead, drained but steady. Not a trick. A warning. If it retreated, it will circle back. Logan pocketed the transmitter, jaw tight. Then we'd better figure out why someone hid all this here, before 45 minutes are up. The chamber shuddered again, lights dimming briefly. Overhead, the AI's calm voice returned. Unscheduled entry detected. Secondary breach in progress. Exra met Logan's eyes, fear and fire mingling in her glow. Intruders, she whispered. The chamber lights flickered as the AI repeated its calm warning. Secondary breach detected. Unauthorized access in progress. Logan's grip tightened on his pistol. Intruders on the outside, a monster circling beneath their feet. Whoever had designed this nightmare had a cruel sense of timing. Because one problem wasn't enough, he muttered. Exra rose from the hidden compartment, her glow steadier now, though tension traced every line of her face. We can't fight both fronts at once. If they breach the main door while the creature is active, the catwalk lurched before she could finish. Something slammed from below harder than before. The entire platform dipped, bolts groaning, spray of coolant shooting upward. Logan instinctively caught Exra around the waist to keep her from slipping. The warmth of her body against his registered for half a second. Then the metal shrieked again. Exra steadied herself, breath sharp. It's testing the structure. If it weakens one support beam, then we're coolant chow. Logan scanned the shadows beneath the surface. A ridge of scales flashed, then vanished again. We need high ground. He tugged her toward a maintenance ladder bolted to the wall. Halfway up, voices echoed from the sealed door behind them. Muffled shouts, the whine of a cutter torch sparking against metal. Sparks sprayed through the crack in the bulkhead. They're burning through, Logan said. Minutes, maybe less. Exra glanced from the door to the pool below. Her glow flared. Then we need to hurry. They climbed onto a higher platform, barely 2 meters above the one they'd abandoned. The coolant sloshed again, but the monster didn't strike immediately. Instead, a low, rhythmic pulse reverberated through the chamber walls, sonar, searching. The sound made Logan's teeth ache. Exra pressed her palm against a panel. Her glow seeped across the alloy in thin veins. There's a service conduit here. If I can force it open. The creature surged upward, jaws breaking the surface in a violent spray. Logan fired twice, bolts searing across its plated skull. It roared, slamming the catwalk support. The platform rattled, shoving both of them against the railing. Work faster, Logan barked. I'm trying. Exra's voice held steel, not fear. The panel clicked, then slid aside to reveal a cramped crawlspace of wires and tubing. She ducked inside, motioning frantically. Logan backed toward it, firing another volley. The creature thrashed but didn't breach the platform. Yet, he slid into the conduit just as the catwalk gave a tortured groan and collapsed into the coolant with a splash. The chamber echoed with the monster's frustrated bellow. The crawlspace was tight, forcing them shoulder to shoulder, their breaths mingling in the recycled air. Logan led with his pistol raised, though the tunnel was too narrow for much of a fight. Behind them, Exra sealed the panel with a palm spark of energy, dimming her glow to avoid detection. For a moment, only the drip of condensation filled the dark. Then came the hiss of the door outside tearing open. Heavy boots clanged on the chamber floor. Men's voices barked orders, urgent and low. Logan stiffened. These weren't station engineers. Their tone was military mercenaries by the sound of it. Exra leaned close, her whisper barely audible. They came for the transmitter. Logan nodded once. And they'll kill anyone who saw it. Through a grate ahead, he caught a glimpse of the intruders. Armored figures scanning the ruined catwalk, rifles sweeping the coolant. One cursed at the water. Another muttered about asset containment. The words made Logan's stomach turn. Asset. Like the monster was property. Beside him, Exra's glow pulsed faintly with agitation. She whispered, "We can't let them recover it." Logan's jaw set. "We won't." One of the mercenaries stopped, turning toward the wall, toward their conduit. A flashlight beam slid across the grate, stopping inches from Logan's face. He froze, breath shallow. The mercenary stepped closer, reached for the latch. Exra's hand closed over Logan's wrist, her bioluminescence flaring just enough to throw the conduit into shimmering light. "Now," she mouthed. Logan raised his pistol. The mercenary's hand reached for the conduit latch. Logan steadied his pistol, heart pounding in his ears. One wrong move and the whole crawlspace would light up with fire. Exra's glow sharpened along her wrist like a blade drawn. At her nod, Logan shoved the grate outward. It slammed into the mercenary's faceplate with a crack. He staggered back, cursing. Logan rolled out, firing 2 sharp plasma bursts. The first shot seared a warning into the deck. The second hit the man's rifle, sending it skittering into the coolant pool. Chaos erupted. Shouts, boots scrambling. Another mercenary leveled his weapon, only for Exra to slide from the conduit and sweep her glowing palm across a junction box. Sparks exploded, plunging half the chamber into flickering shadow. "Move!" Logan barked. Together they sprinted along the narrow platform, mercenaries firing wild shots that ricocheted against bulkheads. The coolant below rippled again, as though the monster stirred at the noise. Then a deafening clang split the air. The sealed chamber door tore open from the other side, not cut by mercenary torches, but forced with military precision. Logan turned just in time to see Commander Holt stride through, armored security detail at his back. "Stand down!" Holt's voice boomed across the chaos. "Station security has control of this sector." The mercenaries froze for a heartbeat, caught between retreat and defiance. One raised his weapon anyway. Before he could fire, a new set of figures pushed in behind Holt, sleek black armor marked with the insignia of the Galactic Inspectorate. Their leader, a sharp-faced woman with a clipped accent, raised her badge. "This operation is under GI jurisdiction," she declared. "You and your men will stand aside." The temperature in the chamber seemed to drop. Holt's jaw tightened, his hand hovering over his sidearm. "Inspector, this is my station. My sector. You have no clearance to interfere." Logan swore under his breath. The last thing they needed was a bureaucratic standoff while mercenaries, a bioweapon, and a collapsing purge cycle shared the same room. Exra edged close, whispering urgently. "They're arguing while it escapes." Logan followed her gaze. Bubbles were rising, huge ones, swelling toward the surface. A low rumble shivered through the metal supports. "Containment breach detected," the AI intoned calmly. The water erupted. The creature launched upward, jaws snapping around the half-submerged catwalk. One mercenary screamed as he toppled into the coolant. The monster dragged him under in a flash of teeth and spray. The chamber dissolved into panic. Mercenaries fired at the water. Holt's guards shouted warnings. GI agents tried to assert command. Nobody listened. The beast slammed against the far wall, spraying coolant across consoles. Lights sparked and died. Logan grabbed Exra's wrist. "We're not sticking around to be next." She resisted just enough to point at the transmitter still clipped to his belt. "That evidence, if they recover it, they'll bury the truth." He nodded sharply. "Then we keep it out of their hands." They bolted up a maintenance stairwell while Holt's voice roared below, shouting orders lost beneath the screams and gunfire. From the landing above, Logan looked back one last time. Holt and the GI inspector were nose to nose, shouting jurisdiction claims even as the chamber collapsed into chaos. The monster surged again, its ridged spine smashing against the deck supports. The floor buckled. One of Holt's men dragged the inspector back at the last moment as metal sheared away. Logan turned to Exera. This station's about to eat itself alive. Exera's glow flared with grim resolve. Then we expose what's been feeding it. Together, they vanished into the maintenance corridors, alarms wailing behind them and the sound of the creature's roar echoing like thunder through the bones of the station. The maintenance corridor stretched like a steel vein through the bowels of Asteria. Pipes hissed, coolant dripped, and the walls seemed to breathe with the life of the station. Logan led the way, pistol raised, every sense on edge. Behind him, Exera kept pace. Her glow dimmed to the faintest trace, like starlight fading before dawn. They stopped in a junction where the noise of the purge chamber couldn't reach them. Logan finally pulled the contraband transmitter from his belt. It pulsed faintly, crystals humming like caged bees. Exera knelt, spreading the shards across the deck in a careful fan. Her slender fingers hovered above them, bioluminescence threading into each shard until the whole array shimmered with pale blue light. "They're coded," she whispered, "but not well. Whoever hid these wanted secrecy, not permanence." Logan crouched beside her, trying not to notice how the glow made her eyes blaze silver. "Can you break it?" Exera's lips curved slightly. "Already did." One shard flared, projecting faint holograms across the narrow corridor. Medical charts, genetic sequences, cross-referenced not with alien species but with human baselines. Logan's stomach nodded as the images scrolled. Spliced chromosomes, grafted musculature, annotations stamped with the station's seal. "Gods," he muttered. "They weren't just studying it. They built it." Exera nodded, voice tight. "They harvested human DNA, combined it with aquatic predators. The implants were added later for obedience. Weaponized hybrids. The evidence hung between them like poison smoke." Logan felt rage coil through him, hot and steady. Holt knew. Had to. You don't hide something like this in a purge chamber by accident. Her glow pulsed brighter. "The inspectorate will bury it too, if they get the chance. They'll say it's classified. For security." Logan's gaze locked with hers. "Then we can't let them near it." Their closeness struck him, shoulder brushing shoulder in the narrow passage, their breaths shallow in recycled air. For a dangerous moment, the station, the mercenaries, even the monster seemed distant. Just two people trapped with the truth. A metallic thud snapped him back. Boots echoed from down the corridor. A squad of GI agents rounded the bend, weapons lowered but not hidden. Their leader, the same sharp-eyed inspector from before, raised a hand. "Lieutenant Logan, Exera Nihilith, you're coming with us. For your protection." Logan's pistol rose a fraction. "Funny, I didn't request it." The inspector's gaze slid to the glowing shards. "Station security is compromised. Evidence like that belongs in inspectorate custody." Exera's glow flared in alarm. "So you can lock it away?" The woman's voice hardened. "So it doesn't fall into the wrong hands." "Wrong hands," Logan repeated, bitter. "Meaning anyone who might make you look complicit." For the first time, the inspector's composure cracked. She gestured sharply, and her squad stepped forward. "We're done debating. Hand it over." The air turned razor-sharp. Logan's grip tightened on his pistol. Exera shifted closer, her light pulsing like a warning beacon. He weighed the odds, outnumbered, pinned in a corridor. But giving up the shards meant burying everything they'd just uncovered. His chest tightened. No good options. Then Exera spoke, her voice clear, almost daring. "You'll have to kill us first." The inspector's eyes narrowed. Her squad raised their rifles. The corridor filled with the electric hum of charged weapons. Logan's finger hovered on the trigger, heart hammering. Betrayal had never felt so tangible, so immediate. He'd fought pirates, smugglers, raiders, but at least they were honest about what they wanted. Here, in the cold light of Asteria's veins, the truth was clearer than ever. The inspectorate wasn't here to save lives. They were here to bury sins. And Logan had just chosen the wrong side of their ledger. The corridor was a powder keg. Logan with his pistol, Exera glowing like a warning flare, GI rifles humming. The inspector's hand raised to give the order. One twitch and blood would paint the walls. Then the station itself intervened. A thunderous boom rolled through the deck plates. Lights stuttered, dimmed, and came back crimson. A klaxon wailed overhead, harsh and merciless. Warning. Reactor instability detected. Core temperature rising. Evacuation protocols initiated. Everyone froze. Even the inspector's mask slipped as the alarm drilled into their ears. Logan didn't wait. You wanted to bury evidence? Congratulations. Your damn station's about to bury us all. He yanked Exera down a side shaft before the GI squad could react. Plasma bolts hissed past their heads, but the agents didn't follow long. The alarm drowned everything else. They ran, feet pounding through maintenance arteries until the roar of the reactor filled the air like a beast growling in its sleep. The chamber opened into a vast, cathedral-like space. Towering coolant conduits, glowing heat exchangers, every surface sweating condensation. And in the center, the reactor core, a column of furious light caged by failing stabilizers. Exera's breath caught. It's destabilizing from the sabotage. They tried to reroute flow. Too much pressure, nowhere to bleed. Logan scanned the consoles flanking the core. Symbols flashed red across every screen. Tell me we can stop it. Her glow brightened as she raced to the nearest console. Fingers flew across the interface, bioluminescent sparks bleeding into the keys. Yes, maybe, but the failsafes require a dual override. 2 terminals. Simultaneous input. Logan's jaw set. Then tell me where to stand. She pointed to the opposite platform, separated by a narrow bridge suspended over the chasm of conduits. Logan sprinted across, heat licking his skin as he reached the secondary console. Ready? He called. Exera's glow pulsed in time with the reactor's flicker. We'll need perfect sync. If one of us lags, the purge valves misfire, and the core blows. Great. No pressure, Logan muttered. He planted his hands on the console, fingers hovering. Count us down. Exera closed her eyes, exhaling slow. On my mark 3, 2, 1, execute. Their hands flew. Commands mirrored across the twin consoles. Purge valves, stabilizer resets, coolant reroutes. The reactor shrieked like a wounded animal, vents howling as steam hissed into the chamber. Logan gritted his teeth, muscles burning as if force could make his keystrokes faster. He risked a glance across the gap. Exera moved like lightning, her glow spilling down her arms, sinking to the console's rhythm. For a moment it looked like she was part of the system, alive, wired, essential. He snapped his gaze back to his own panel. Status. 30% stable, she shouted over the roar. Keep going. The core flared white-hot. Shields buckled. A wave of searing heat slammed into Logan, staggering him. He nearly missed the next command input, but forced himself back on rhythm. 45. Exera's voice cracked. Almost. Don't stop. Bolts tore free from overhead struts, clanging onto the deck. The bridge shook beneath Logan's boots. He pounded the final sequence, sweat stinging his eyes. Exera's glow blazed like a beacon. Final sync. Now. Together they struck the last command. The console screamed, then went silent. For a breathless moment, nothing. The reactor throbbed, light building to a blinding peak. Logan braced for the explosion. Instead, the column dimmed. Heat bled away. The alarms softened from shrill wails to steady pulses. Across the chamber, the displays cooled to amber. Stabilization achieved. Reactor returning to safe parameters. The voice was calm again. Indifferent. Logan sagged against the console, lungs dragging air like he'd run a marathon. Sweat streaked down his face. He looked up. Exera stood trembling, arms glowing faint as the energy bled away. She met his gaze across the bridge, a shaky smile breaking through exhaustion. Relief washed over him harder than the reactor's heat had. He crossed the bridge in 3 strides. She nearly collapsed into his arms, and for once he didn't fight the instinct to catch her. Her head rested against his shoulder, glow still flickering like an ember fighting to stay lit. "You're insane," Logan muttered softly. "But brilliant." Her laugh was tired but real. Compliment accepted. They lingered there, suspended above the cooling reactor, the roar subsiding around them. The world felt briefly small. Just the 2 of them and the hum of a system they'd saved together. Exura lifted her head, silver eyes searching his. The closeness hit him again, heat, sweat, the aftershock of survival. He almost kissed her. Almost. But footsteps clanged in the corridor above, snapping the moment apart. "GI agents." Holt's voice booming orders. The war for the truth wasn't over. Logan let Exura go, steadying her on her feet. "We saved the station. Now let's save the story." Exura's glow hardened, pulsing brighter. Before they erase it. The chamber doors slammed shut with a final hiss, locking Logan and Exura inside. The air carried that sterile bite unique to medical containment. Ozone and antiseptic, like someone had scrubbed away every trace of humanity. Logan slammed a fist against the sealed panel. "Damn it, Holt!" From the other side, Commander Holt's voice was flat, bureaucratic. "Standard decontamination. 40 minutes. Stay put." Then silence. Exura pressed her glowing palm to the wall. The metal pulsed back a faint red denial. "He's lying," she said quietly. "This isn't decontamination. The sequence doesn't run 40 minutes. It runs indefinite until override." Logan turned, eyes narrowing. "So he's burying us in here while the inspectorate handles the evidence." Her glow flared. "Exactly." Logan paced the narrow chamber. No weapons, no exits, just them, and the truth dying slowly on a data crystal in his pocket. He dragged a hand down his face. "Options." Exura's expression shifted, thoughtful, calculating. She walked to the central console, studied its dormant screen. "This model, it only responds to full-spectrum biometric signatures. Not just hands, breath, skin, heart rate." Logan blinked. "You mean?" She turned to him, silver eyes glinting. "It was designed to recognize proximity, intimacy, to confirm neither subject could leave quarantine until their vitals synced. A safeguard against carriers escaping alone." The implication hit like a plasma burst. "You're saying the only way out is together." Her voice didn't waver, though a faint flush rose beneath her glow. For a moment, the alarms and conspiracies fell away. Just the 2 of them, caught in a trap that demanded they cross a line neither had fully admitted was there. Logan swallowed, jaw tight. Convenient system design. Her lips curved, humorless. Cruel, more like. Silence stretched. Finally, Logan exhaled hard. "All right, let's do this." Exura stepped close, glow brightening until the chamber walls reflected it. He could feel her warmth even before her fingers brushed his jaw, guiding him down. Her lips met his, soft at first, then steadier as the console hummed to life. The system drank in their combined heat, their matched heartbeats, their breath exchanged in slow rhythm. For Logan, the override became secondary. The kiss was electric, not just from her bioenergy but from everything they'd endured, the purge chamber, the monster, the reactor. A release, sharp and dangerous. The console chimed. Override accepted. Quarantine disengaged. The door seals clanked, releasing with a hiss of recycled air. Exura pulled back, cheeks flushed, glow shimmering wildly. "Functional," she said, voice unsteady. Logan managed a half-smile, though his pulse hammered. "Effective, I'd call it." Before the moment could linger, voices carried down the hall outside. Holtz barked orders. GI comms crackling. They hadn't even noticed the chamber unlocking yet. Exura grabbed Logan's hand, tugging him into motion. "Come on. We don't get second chances." They slipped through the opening, shadows against the corridor walls. Behind them, the quarantine chamber sealed again. Empty now, its override tricked by something far more dangerous than contagion. Trust, however fragile, forged under fire. Logan squeezed her hand once before letting go, eyes hardening. Next stop, Docking Bay. If we don't broadcast this, everything we've done is for nothing. Exra's glow sharpened like a blade. Then we make them listen. Together, they vanished into the maze of Asteria's veins, the station shuddering as if it already knew a reckoning was coming. The docking bay stretched wide as a city plaza, echoing with the clang of loading cranes and the hiss of docking clamps. Cargo containers towered like steel monoliths, stacked in neat grids. At the far end, perched above the main control tower, the broadcast terminal gleamed, one switch away from sending the truth spiraling across the station's comnet. Logan scanned the open expanse. Too exposed. If we move fast, maybe. A voice cut him off. Not fast enough. Commander Holt stepped from behind a cargo stack, flanked by GI agents and armed security. His uniform was immaculate despite the chaos, his expression carved from stone. The inspector from earlier shadowed his side, face hard. Logan raised his pistol. You planning to shoot us in front of half the station? Holt didn't flinch. If that's what it takes to stop this madness. Do you have any idea what destabilizing the reactor records will do to public order? Panic kills more people than truth. Exra's glow flared bright, casting light across Holt's face. No. Lies kill more. Holt's jaw clenched. He gestured sharply. Weapons came up. Before Logan could decide whether to fire or bluff, the station itself made the choice. A tremor rattled the bay floor. Docking clamps screeched as something massive struck from below. Then the coolant conduits along the wall burst open with a roar of water. The creature surged into the bay, ridged spines slicing the air, jaws wide enough to swallow a shuttle's nose. Panic exploded. Dockworkers screamed, scattering. Holt's squad broke formation, some firing wildly at the monster, others scrambling for cover. Logan grabbed Exra, dragging her behind a container as the beast lunged, smashing through a cargo crane like it was kindling. Sparks rained down. Alarms wailed. This is it, Logan said, voice tight. We hit that broadcast or we're done. Exra's glow blazed like a beacon, outlining her every feature. She pointed toward the control tower, its access ladder exposed across open ground. We'll never make it while it hunts. Logan peeked around the container. The creature thrashed, tail smashing a shuttle against the bay wall. Holt shouted orders no one followed. Amid the chaos, Logan spotted a flicker of recognition. The way the beast's head snapped toward the pulse of plasma fire, drawn by energy. Energy signature, Logan muttered. That transmitter trick? Can you do it again? Exra's eyes widened, then narrowed with resolve. Yes, but I'll need to be close. Close enough it can see me. Too dangerous. She touched his arm, glow sparking through the fabric of his sleeve. So is silence. Before he could argue, she stepped into the open. Her glow flared to full brilliance, cascading down her arms, her chest, her hair. In the gloom of the bay, she looked less like a woman and more like living starlight. The creature froze mid-lunge. Its head turned, eyes burning green as it locked onto her radiance. Exra raised her arms, light pulsing in waves, mimicking the rhythm she'd used in the purge chamber. The monster bellowed, confused, torn between rage and obedience. Slowly, it shifted toward her, leaving a gap in the chaos. Logan didn't waste it. Sprinting low, he darted across the open deck, climbed the ladder 2 rungs at a time, and burst into the control tower. The terminal blinked at him, awaiting command. He jammed the data crystal home. Broadcast, full spectrum, all bands, he barked. The system hesitated, authorization codes blinking red. From the deck below, Holt saw what was happening. Stop him, he roared. Several agents fired up at the tower, bolts scorching the metal rails. Exra staggered under the pressure of keeping the beast's focus. Her glow flickered, sweat glistening on her skin. Logan! She shouted, voice raw. Now! Logan slammed his palm on the override, teeth gritted. Override command. Station Charter Clause 9. Emergency disclosure. The console whined and then bloomed with green. Broadcast initiated. Every comm screen across the bay, across Asteria, lit with the scrolling data. Genetic splicing, hybrid schematics, Holt's authorizations stamped in bold. The crowd of workers and officers froze, eyes drawn to the damning evidence. Holt's face drained of color. The inspector's composure shattered, her hand falling from her sidearm as the truth screamed through every channel. The creature roared, rearing high above the bay, confused by Exara's fading glow. Logan looked down from the tower, heart hammering. Exara, move! But she stood her ground, light flickering like the last flame of a torch, buying one more second for the truth to spread. The docking bay was no longer just a battlefield. It had become a theater. Every comm screen, every display, every handheld datapad in the crowd glared with the same damning evidence. Genetic charts, procurement logs, authorizations stamped with Holt's clearance code. Shouts rippled through the workers and dock crews. Rage, disbelief, fear. Eyes turned toward Commander Holt like spotlights pinning a criminal on stage. This is fabricated, Holt bellowed, his voice cracking beneath the echo of the broadcast. Propaganda from enemies of the station, but no one moved to back him. Even his own guards hesitated, eyes flicking from him to the glowing data and back again. Exara staggered across the deck, her glow sputtering as the creature loomed over her. It hissed, caught between the rhythm she had projected and the chaos flooding its senses. Logan vaulted from the tower, racing down the ladder 2 rungs at a time. He sprinted across the bay, firing at the monster's face, drawing its attention away. Here! Come on, you ugly bastard! The creature swung toward him with a guttural roar. Logan's shots sparked harmlessly off its reinforced hide, but it was enough. Exara slipped free, collapsing behind a stack of crates. Above, the GI inspector barked into her comm, face pale. Terminate the feed. Shut it down. A station officer nearby, hands trembling, shook his head. It's everywhere. Every deck is watching. We can't stop it now. The inspector's mask of control shattered. Holt turned on her furiously. You promised containment. You promised deniability. She snapped back. Their words carried through the bay like knives. Every listener heard exactly what they hadn't meant to say aloud. The crowd surged. Dockworkers advanced, voices rising in a chorus of accusation. Holt's remaining guards faltered, weapons lowering. Then Commander Park stormed into the bay with fresh security squads, her voice like steel. Commander Holt, you are under arrest for crimes against the charter of Asteria Station. Cheers erupted, drowning Holt's curses as Park's officers disarmed him. The inspector tried to slip away, but the crowd's fury trapped her, voices chanting for justice. Meanwhile, the monster still rampaged, thrashing against cargo containers, tail-smashing shuttles. Logan grabbed Exara, helping her upright. We can't kill it, he said, panting. But we can push it back to containment. Exara leaned heavily on him, her glow a faint ember. Then let's finish this. Together, they sprinted to a coolant control node near the wall. Exara braced herself against the panel, forcing her fading light into its circuits. Pipes rattled overhead, pressure building. Logan slammed the manual release. A torrent of supercooled vapor blasted into the bay, enveloping the beast in a fog of freezing mist. The creature bellowed, thrashing in confusion, then retreated the way it had come, crashing back through ruptured conduits into the depths of the station. The bay fell into stunned silence, broken only by the hiss of coolant and Holt's distant protests as he was dragged away in restraints. Logan wiped sweat and coolant spray from his face, heart still hammering. He looked at Exara, her glow faint but steady now. You all right? She gave him a weary smile. Better than Holt. He laughed once, sharp and breathless. Low bar, but I'll take it. Around them, workers cheered as Park's officers secured the area. Holt and the inspector were marched out under heavy guard, their power stripped by truth made public. Exara leaned closer, her voice low. We won this round, but the inspectorate won't stop. Not while these projects exist elsewhere. Logan's jaw tightened. He slipped the last surviving data shard into his belt. Then we make sure this was just the beginning. Together, they stood amid the wreckage, the roar of the crowd echoing like thunder. For the first time, the station wasn't just an iron cage of secrets. It was awake. Three months later, Asteria Station gleamed like nothing had ever scarred it. Cargo flowed, docking arms reached for inbound ships, and the central promenade buzzed with merchants hawking wares in a dozen languages. To the casual traveler, life had returned to normal. But Logan knew better. He stood outside the Grand Tribunal chamber, the press of onlookers buzzing behind security cordons. Inside, the verdict had just been delivered. Commander Holt, stripped of rank and sentenced to penal exile on a remote colony. The GI inspector, disgraced, was recalled under inquiry so intense she might never resurface. The broadcast had made hiding impossible. Logan's hand brushed the new insignia on his uniform, gold-etched bars that marked his promotion. Commander Logan. Park had made it official a week ago, recognizing the man who'd steadied the reactor and brought the truth into the light. He should have felt proud. Instead, a quiet unease lingered, heavy as the hum of the station's engines. Trying not to smile? A soft voice teased. Logan turned. Exora stood in the corridor, her glow subtle but unmistakable, flowing along her collarbones like moonlight on water. She wore a tailored jacket now, the crest of the new Interstellar Bioethics Council pinned at her chest. She wasn't a fugitive scientist anymore. She was their leading advisor. Smile, Logan managed, shaking his head. I was trying not to punch the next person who says, hero of Asteria. Her lips curved. You are, though. He huffed. We both are. And you know it. They walked together down the promenade, away from the crush of reporters. The noise faded, replaced by the hush of the station's upper-deck gardens. Hollow simulated sunlight filtered through transparent domes, spilling across trees rooted in imported soil. Asteria's one luxury, life that wasn't metal and code. Exora slowed near the koi pond, kneeling to trail her glowing fingers across the surface. The water rippled in answer. The tribunal will settle Holt, she said quietly. But not the work he started. The hybrids, there may be others. Different species. Different worlds. Logan crouched beside her, the koi darting away as his reflection joined hers in the water. Yeah, I've been thinking the same. Holt wasn't the architect, just one cog. Someone higher authorized all of this. She looked at him, silver eyes steady. And they'll keep building, unless someone stops them. Logan leaned back on his heels, watching her glow shimmer. You volunteering us? Her smile softened. You already know the answer. For a moment, silence held them. The chaos, the battles, the lies. They'd survived all of it together. And somewhere between purge alarms and reactor fire, something had grown neither of them could deny. Logan reached out, brushing a stray lock of silver hair from her face. I don't do well with speeches, he admitted. But if you're staying, I'm staying. If you're leaving, I'm leaving. Simple as that. Her glow warmed, pulsing brighter. Then we're already aligned. The words carried more weight than a vow. A calm alert buzzed at Logan's hip, breaking the moment. He checked it, frowning. A message from reconnaissance. Unexplained energy readings on the rim colonies. Biometric traces flagged as unclassified. His stomach tightened. Exora noticed. Another hybrid? Could be, he said grimly. Could be worse. They stood, the koi pond rippling behind them. The garden dome above showed a simulation of dusk, stars winking into view. Logan slipped the datapad back into his belt. Looks like our quiet months are over. Exora's glow sharpened, fierce and bright. Then let's make sure the next broadcast comes before the next disaster. Side by side, they walked toward the shuttle concourse, their footsteps steady, their shadows stretching long across the garden path. Asteria had survived, but the galaxy was stirring, and together, they were ready to face it.